we're thinking about on a regular basis. Of course, Cointelegraph is probably, it's the top crypto blockchain publication out there. Make sure you check out what's going on there. She is the editor-in-chief. She's the big boss over there. Today, we're going to switch on going after crypto and blockchain, and we're going to try a different type of interview. We're taking one of the biggest speakers that's going to be at the Fintech Surge Future Blockchain GITEC Summit that's happening in October 16th through the 20th. And I am super excited. Chris
I'm super
Voss
excited
is
too.
joining us. You're excited? I can see you're pumped up. Chris Voss is joining us. He's I think he's in Las Vegas. That's where he resides. And Chris, of course, his book, Never Split the Difference, is Race to the Top. His masterclass is our #1 masterclass over at masterclass.com. And he's one of our coveted speakers that's going to be joining us in Dubai. Chris Voss, thank you so much for joining us this morning for you, evening for me, afternoon for Kristina, wherever you are. But Chris, thanks a lot for hanging out with us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on. It's going to be fun.
All right. What's it mean to be a negotiator for the FBI? What does that really mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's about collaboration. It's a certain type of person that is good at it versus drawn to it. I mean, it sounds sexy. Everybody wants to be a hostage negotiator, seems like an easy thing to do. And most of the things that seem easy on the surface can be complicated and satisfying. And, you stand by, and every now and then you get to go out and jump on a plane and fly over a beautiful part of the world and land in a hard part of the world. But it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
But the ones we normally see on the movies is a Denzel Washington. He's on the phone. He's trying to go back and forth. How much reality is in what's in the movies compared to what really you went through?
Yeah, there's a lot more team play than people realize. The cliche, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go as a team. The best negotiators work in teams and listen to each other as much as they listen to the bad guys. And, you tend to be innovative and collaborative at the same time. It's not exactly like it is in the movies, because in the movies, they always like to say the negotiator, the Kevin Spacey movie, The Negotiator, Kevin Spacey and Samuel Jackson, the hostage negotiator said, all decisions go through me. Now, you don't do that. You collaborate with people. It's a lot of fun. You work with good people.
Is there any period of time to where the person on the other side you're negotiating really gets what they're trying to negotiate for, where they're really trying to get the plane or the bus or something? Do they ever really get something?
If they're trying to escape, if you've got them trapped and your negotiators are any good, you don't let them out. If somebody's trying to escape, what they really want is they want to live. I mean, that's a great thing about the universal nature of negotiations. What does the other person really want? And human behavior, no matter what the circumstances, is really driven by all the same dynamics. A Palestinian terrorist, is looking for identity, is looking for recognition, is looking for some justification for their life. And all the little things tend to fall away as soon as you get into, what I used to refer to as discover what their religion is, and using religion in a really broad term. Because everybody has something that they believe in that's greater than themselves, and it governs all of our decisions, whether you're a Palestinian terrorist, a Colombian terrorist. People are always just looking for the same thing, and that's, then the rest of it tends to fall away. They're not looking for a plane because they want to live and they want to see a better day tomorrow. I realize I'm sort of babbling in maybe ethereal, ephemeral terms, but that's what drives human behavior.
No, it's important. By the way, anyone that's listening, if you have a question or a comment, please put it inside the chat. We'll make sure you're part of this dialogue. Chris Voss is joining us from Never Split the Difference. Again, Fintech Surge and Future Blockchain Summit. We're having this incredible event happening October 16th through the 20th of October. We want you there. Make sure you sign up. Chris is just one of the many speakers. He's one of the top speakers. Super excited. By the way, Chris, I think Kenny Aronoff, we're about to announce, Kenny is the drummer. What? I think we're doing Jim Quick. We're going to have John Gray. I mean, people that are not in the blockchain space, because we feel that blockchain and crypto, you really need to know real world situations to become successful in those industries, because it's still business. It's still human interaction. And I think that's probably what's been lost in this. They think it's all digital and that's all I need to know. Have you noticed your services starting to come into the higher tech space where they're starting to ask you more questions, get involved and help them out?
Yeah, absolutely. And really the thing that I love about the higher tech space is when they realize people in the tech space, when those people realize they got to talk to people, they're not kidding themselves about the fact that they probably need to get better at communicating with each other. You know, unfortunately, there are a lot of businesses out there that talk to people all the time, and they don't realize that they're doing it in a very average way. So they think, well, you know, I talk to people all the time, I'm already good at it. What I really love about people in the tech space are they recognize more quickly that their communication skills need to catch up with their tech skills, for lack of a better term. And they're usually more open to learning how to be better negotiators.
Kristina, you're sitting, of course, on one of the top publications in the blockchain crypto space, Cointelegraph. You look at a Chris Voss, who, I mean, this is a unique type of interview because you generally don't interview people like this. How would you bring him into the forefront of what you're doing when it comes to negotiating people, relationships? How would you bring him into your publication?
Well, thank you very much, Ken and Chris. It's been so interesting just to listen for you for 10 minutes. I'm really, I think that personal stories and the people behind every project and how we communicate among ourselves is definitely key to every success and business, not less than in like politics and other spheres. My question to you would be, how do you think this new tools that we have of communication are actually impacting our way of negotiating in business, in life? Like now everything is happening digitally. What kind of preparation one should have in order to be ready for negotiating online? And how much of a successful negotiation lies in improvisation?
Oh, wow. Wow. Great questions. How much do you prepare to negotiate online? Think about, it's going to sound almost like a cliche. Think about how the other side's looking at it first, not how they should look at it, but how they are looking at it, and typically how they're looking at it wrong, in your opinion. And that's really the beginning of empathy. Now don't tell them they're wrong, but say, here's what you're thinking about right now, and just let that sink in. One of the woman has started up several tech companies. Her recruiting changed for people in the tech industry when she started her emails by saying, right now you're wondering why you should even read this email. Because that's exactly what's going through a highly talented tech individual's mind. In the tech world, the really talented people are the rock stars. And if they open up an email, their first thought is, you know, why am I even bothering reading this email? Empathy is really kind of an interesting, easily applied thing in all aspects of communication. As soon as you get out of your own way and you get leery of the word should, if you say to yourself, all right, this is what they should be thinking, well, you're on the wrong track. Start out with what people really are thinking, and then chunk your communication down. A lot of people want to write a dissertation in an email, and simultaneously refuse to read the emails that they get sent that are dissertations. It's entertaining how many people hate long emails and turn around and write them. But you get into a hurry, you got a whole thought process, you want to lay it out. If you chunk it down, what ends up happening is it accelerates the communication process. At the end of the day, everybody's aware that their most valuable commodity is time. And it seems like if you send 10 emails, that's going to be a waste of time. In fact, you're going to get to the outcome quicker if you have chunk your one email down into maybe 5 emails or 10 emails. had a judge in a trial in New York a long time ago used to like to say, we're going to delay things in order to save time. And everybody would go, oh, okay, I got no problem with the delay. So if you try to communicate in smaller bits, you think you're wasting time, but you're going to get to the outcome faster.
That's a great tip. Also, what I've encountered in the blockchain space, fintech space, is that compared to the traditional business, sometimes founders actually are at the same time CEOs, and they are at the same time communication managers. So everything is more accessible in the space. But at the same time, in my opinion, it adds up so much stress. So the second part of your book is called Negotiate. Second part of the title of your book is called Negotiating as if your life depended on it. Isn't it too stressful? How do you manage stress while negotiating as if your life depended on it?
Yeah, and how many people act as if the smallest things their entire life depend on it? Human nature is your biggest problem is your biggest problem. Like, the stuff that I am troubled by in my world, there are other people that would say, boy, I would kill for your problems. Your biggest problem right now is the palm trees in the backyard of the house that you're renting are putting too much debris in your pool. Oh my God, you got to go out and clean your pool every morning. I mean, and I'm like, darn it, the stress of cleaning my pool is driving me crazy. Your biggest problem is your biggest problem. So first of all, accept the fact that, somebody on the other side of the table, they're going to get upset about something that you don't think is important. Well, then you lose an empathy when you do that. First of all, recognize that people feel like they're under stress. Now, what's the hack for all of this? Hack is an overused term. There's a neuroscientist that I really enjoy listening to these days, Andrew Huberman out of Stanford. Lots of really interesting information. He doesn't even like the word hack. He says mechanism. What's the best mechanism for dealing with stress as a human being? As crazy as it sounds, just genuine curiosity. I mean, that is like if you're genuinely curious about somebody else, what happens when you're genuinely curious? First of all, it's impossible to be angry. You can't be genuinely curious and angry at the same time. And anger is this really toxic drug that releases neurochemicals in your system, which are toxins for you. And the other really bad downside of anger is you feel self-righteous when you're angry, which it creates this downward spiral that's really hard to get out of. And the third problem with anger is you're actually dumber when you're angry. There's a great there's a great TED talk by gentleman out of Harvard, his name will occur to me, called The Happiness Advantage. And he says you're 31% smarter in a positive frame of mind, which by definition means when you're angry, you're dumber. Now let's get back to curiosity again. Curiosity is highly positive. You actually have more mental agility, you see patterns more quickly, and you have more mental energy if you're genuinely curious. So the mechanism for mental health in all your communications and even in all your interactions in the world is to be genuinely curious.
That's really inspiring. And this brings me to my last question to you before we ask our audience for some other comments. In my opinion, what unites, the terrorists community and the crypto community is there are a lot of anonymous people. How do you manage negotiations with people who are anonymous? Even being curious, how can you be sure that you are not, biased, or you actually choose the right strategy talking with this or that anonymous person?
Well, anonymity is a defense mechanism. And for starters, so then you ask yourself, what's the defense mechanism about? It's fear-based, it's trust-based. To start with, instead of attacking where someone's coming from, if they were refusing to give me their name in a communication, then my first response would be, wow, it feels like you've got a good reason for not giving me your name. You know, I'm working on getting people to open up so that we can collaborate, even if they're a terrorist, even if they're anonymous, for whatever reason, whatever is driving them. Now, underlying this anonymity, there's a basic human need, regardless of what your gender, your ethnicity, or your religion is, for your identity. You want to exist as a human being, and you want to feel like your life matters in some way. If I know that that's driving you, then ultimately I've got the upper hand in the communication, because I'm going to try to get you to open up, and I'm going to get you to realize that it's safe to open up with me. And you're going to be driven by that more than your short-term goals. There's always something more important than the negotiation to every human being alive. There's always something more important than what they're asking for. I'm going to dig into it and find out what it is.
I do want Chris to elaborate on something that has helped me out. And this is in more of a personal relationship, which everyone can use. And that is, if you are in a situation where your significant other or somebody that you have to deal with sees you in a very negative way. You know, you could be in a divorce situation. You could be in a hostile situation where they're trying to hurt you in a certain way. You come across, Chris, where you literally express to them in their mind how they view you, but you say it. I'm a jerk. I know you know I'm a jerk. I know you think I'm a cheat. You see these things, and somehow the effect is what?
Yeah, that's very well said, Ken, and a good summary of it. It deactivates the negative feelings in their heads. Now, does it deactivate them entirely? You may need to express it more than once. It's a specific approach we call the accusations audit, and the black swan method, if you will. What are the accusations that they would make towards you, not what you would make towards them? Now, there's neuroscience that backs this up. Again, in the neuroscience, what difference does that make? We've all got the same wiring. Again, regardless of gender, ethnicity, culture you grew up in, you know, Ken, you'll probably appreciate the humor in this. It even works with vegans, and we all know how hard they are to reach.
You know when there's a vegan in the room, right? You know how you know?
How do you know?
They tell you. Everyone knows when the vegan's in the room. Okay, I'm sorry if you're a vegan. It's just a joke. Let me go over to, I think it's Inra or Irwin. Help me out. How do you pronounce your name? I'm asking to unmute you. You have your hand up.
Irina,
You're
right?
able to.
Yes,
Hello?
it's Arena. How are you?
Arena, what's your question?
So the question that I have for all of you, and especially, of course, for Christopher, you mentioned always famously that emotions are one of the main things that derail communication. And once people get upset at one another, rational thinking goes out of the window. In our crypto space, as I'm sure a lot of people will agree, there are a lot of emotions and a lot of egos. And there are a lot of people who, so it's very easy to touch a subject which is emotional, or it's very easy to touch a subject which is touching somebody's ego. So how would you engage with people to make sure that you don't, trigger those emotions, that you don't trigger that ego response, in order to make sure that you can progress with your negotiations?
Yeah, great question. And a lot of this becomes eminently predictable. Now, we may not like it, but it's predictable. So you just start out by saying, in your space, there are a lot of people that have egos. People have egos everywhere. Human beings are wired to be negative to begin with. Our default mechanism, and there's a fair amount of argument as to what exactly the mechanisms are, but everybody's universally agreed that our default mechanism is negative. So why not start that way? You know, if I can predict in advance that you're going to be asking yourself why you're even talking to me, I'm going to start out by saying, you're probably asking yourself why you're even talking to me. You probably feel that your accomplishments in this industry make your time extremely valuable, and the last thing you want is for your time to be wasted. I mean, these are all eminently predictable things. As soon as we start listening to our gut instincts, we find that our gut instincts are incredibly accurate at predicting the other side's reaction. Now, where we stumble is how we deal with those reactions. And the 2 millimeter shift, which is incredibly hard for people to make, but it's only 2 millimeters. Change from telling people that they shouldn't feel certain ways to that you're aware that they do. If you sense the other side's got a great ego, you want to say to them, look, I don't want you to think you're better than everybody. You know, it doesn't hurt to say to somebody is, you know, based on your accomplishments, you probably feel that you're head and shoulders above everybody else in the industry. That's a tiny 2 millimeter shift. Go from recognition to how they feel. Again, in the way that I would have said that is, I never said you were right. I never said I agreed with it. You're actually just going to be relieved that I'm aware of what your feelings actually are. And I don't diminish myself in any way by recognizing how you look at the situation.
Makes sense. Let me go over to another question. By the way, please tell us where you're located. I'm going to go to, I believe it's Pooja.
Yep,
Hello, Pooja. Where are you located?
I'm based out of India.
You're in India. And what is your question for Chris Voss?
So I've been in the midst of negotiating a sale price for my company recently, and I'm a part of a book club where this book that he wrote, Never Split the Difference, was recommended. And
Oh, outstanding. Already I'm impressed with you. You're reading my book.
that's like really become my, go-to textbook for the last, I think, 7 rounds of conversation. And
Wow.
I've managed to reach a value which I didn't even in my dreams think was possible. So thank you so much. that book really, really makes a difference. So, and I see that you have a lot of books behind you. So I'm just curious about your top 3 choices of books. And of course, your partner and your book cannot make it to that list. And I've seen Atomic Habits, but can you give me 3 suggestions of other good books that, can help a business progress in the right direction, whether it comes to communicating with employees, becoming better managers, just, other things that are vital for an overall groomed business leader.
Yeah,
Were you able to
sure.
hear all that, Chris?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Okay.
My top 3 book picks, but I'm gonna make a little commentary on Pooja as well. So first of all, the fact that she's in a book club and she's read Never Split the Difference. She's a reader. You know, there was the first person to ever have said this, Arie de Raas, Dutch guy, and I know I slaughtered his last name because I don't speak Dutch, but a Royal Dutch Shell employee said that learning faster than your competition is the only sustainable competitive advantage. Like, think about all the competitive advantages out there. The only sustainable one is a willingness to learn and to stick with it. And so she's reading, she's in a book club. This is a dangerous human being. She's learning. She's constantly learning. She's constantly making herself better. That's cool. Secondarily, and I'm going to word this very carefully because I want people to hear exactly what I say. Women pick this style of negotiation up faster than men do. We've seen consistently that this emotional intelligence-based negotiation, women are consistently picking it up faster than men. Now, at the top end, the top performers, we're seeing no discernible difference in gender success, male or female. But picking it up faster than men, we speculate a lot worldwide why that is true. And again, it's consistent across the globe. She's in India. She grew up in the Indian culture. She's principally negotiating, and this is not American negotiation. She's applying emotional intelligence-based negotiation wherever human beings exist, which is, to me, is very cool. So, and I love it when I hear a woman talking about getting better at negotiation, because historically, globally, negotiation is about being a jerk. And that's sort of a male thing. And most people think you got to be demanding, you got to be argumentative to get your way. Not true. And I think by and large, women don't want to be jerks. They don't want to be demanding and argumentative. But they're very much into emotional intelligence-based negotiation. Now, to finally get back, go ahead.
You got to get back to your three choices, your three books.
Three choices, because I'm burning up a lot of time here. All right, so Daniel Coyle has two books that I love. One is called The Talent Code, and the other is called The Culture Code. The Talent Code is about how you get better faster, how you can help the people that work with you and for you get smarter faster. The Culture Code is about how to make your organization more effective and the little things that you can do organizationally. It has great examples of great organizations that surpassed everybody else. You want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go as a team. Now, the last book that I would recommend, and again, it's about individual performance. Stephen Kotler, who Ken also knows, he's a friend of both of us. He wrote a book called The Rise of Superman. And it's about understanding flow and how you, as a normal human being, can use flow to get better in your life. Flow is what makes X game athletes do superhuman feats. Can you take that mindset and put it into your life? And Kotler talks about how you can learn that. So I love Coyle's two books and Kotler's books as well.
Chris, I don't want to keep you much longer. Just a good ending question, and that is, zero-sum game, win-win or win-win-win? Where is the best place to be in a negotiation? Is it a win-win-win scenario? Is it a win-win or a zero-sum game?
Yeah, zero-sum game, that's I win, you lose, bargaining. You're leaving money on the table.
Right.
Zero-sum to positive sum, which is great collaboration, where you want to do deals over and over and over with someone, which I think is what you're talking about is, win-win-win. How do we collaborate so that you want to do business with me again? First of all, you got to be left better off. And secondly, you got to feel like you were treated fairly. Because even if you were left better off and you felt like you were treated unfairly, you're not going to want to deal with me again. You don't care how much money you made. If I'm a jerk and you got rich, you ain't never dealing with me again because it was just too painful. So make sure, here's the final rule to live by. The last impression is the lasting impression. Whenever you communicate with someone, most people are really good at making a statement of unconditional positive regard at the beginning. At least duplicate that at the end. The last impression is the lasting impression. That'll take you a long way.
And if people want to find out more, Chris, where should they go to learn more about you?
BlackSwanLTD.com, BlackSwanLTD.com. Wherever you are in the world and wherever you are in your negotiation ability, we have a lot of them are free. We got a lot of material to meet you where you are and help you elevate your game. Come to the website. We got a lot of free stuff. We'll help you lay down a really good negotiation base and then help you enjoy negotiation and take you even farther.
So here's my suggestion. Instead of spending your money on NFTs that probably won't do anything for you, go buy Chris's classes and really elevate your game to another level. So use your crypto to buy things that could really take you to another level. Chris Voss, thank you so much. We're very excited to see you at the Blockchain Summit, the Fintech Surge, and of course, GITEX, October 16th through the 20th. Chris Voss, thanks a lot for joining us.
Pleasure to be on, Ken. Thank you very much. You guys are generous.
Bye, Chris. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye, all.
Enjoy your day. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.